I'm here with NGU's very own Lena Maslennikova. And Lena, would you mind telling us a little bit about your history in Ukraine and how the situation matters to you, how it's important to you?
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Jim, for inviting me to share my personal insight. And as you mentioned, I was born and raised in Ukraine, and therefore, of course, I'm following the events in Ukraine right now. And I want to start by saying that I'm very proud of my people and my country for standing up to corruptive government and trying to demand their freedom. I would be completely honest by saying that about 3 months ago, I didn't even believe that it would end up to be a situation today.
Right.
I thought that it would just be a 3-day peaceful demonstration that would go away and people will return to their families and their day-to-day lives. But it proved to be wrong. And the reason I thought about that is because historically, Ukraine has been under invasion and suppression of so many different nations, Tatars, Mongols, Turks, and then Russian control. And then for decades, it's been a part of USSR Communistic Party. So it shaped Ukraine to be submissive and kind of have that victimized mentality.
Right, and that's understandable. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah.
But in 1991, Ukraine became independent. Okay. It just happened, kind of. Nobody in Ukraine asked for it. Nobody fought for it. It kind of came as a surprise, as a gift that fell on the lap of people. And many people in Ukraine and outside of Ukraine didn't even believe that Ukraine can make it on its own as an independent country.
It's been such a long time.
Absolutely.
Right.
But now, for almost 25 years, Ukraine has been learning how to become a sovereign and independent country, democratic society. And a lot of younger generation people really tasted that freedom and that opportunity of having a choice.
That's a really good opportunity.
Absolutely.
After so many years of oppression.
Absolutely. But at the same time, while that was happening, at the same time, our leaders still had communistic kind of values and belief system, and they were our rulers, our leaders, and therefore they were not very successful in rebuilding a strong, sovereign, independent Ukraine, and corruption was still a huge concern in the country. And the latest president, Yanukovych, took country even more down the spiral, so to say. Economy regressed, democracy deteriorated, and corruption became the system. Yeah. And people were suffocating under that system. And the concerns were raising, and the only thing, the only hope that people still had at that moment was that association agreement with European Union that was scheduled to be signed in November of 2013.
Okay.
Well, when President Yanukovych backed out of that agreement and didn't sign it, it was the last drop of patience on people's side, and they raised. And as we see now, they were very serious about raising and not backing out anymore.
They're ready for a change.
Absolutely. Yeah. They're so ready for a change. And I wanted to also mention that in Ukraine, we believe that that people deserve their government.
Right.
And for a long time we believed it, and for a long time we were patient with our government. But as of today, Ukrainian young people no longer want to be identified by that criminal government, by the corruptive systems. They want change, and they're ready for it.
That's a very noble thing to want. Just it's different. It's when you have experienced that for so long, when you've been under that oppression so long, it becomes almost second nature to accept it. But the fact that they're raising up against it, that's very inspiring. What is your opinion on this current situation with some of the occupation, things like that? How do you feel about that? And maybe, if you feel comfortable, how can you see that playing out? How would you like that to play out?
Absolutely. These are all good questions, and everybody wants to know, of course. Let me mention, first of all, that when all that sequence of events took place, of course, it was only natural for everybody to think that people raised because they wanted to become part of European Union, and they didn't. well, it proved to be a wrong assumption. People don't really want to be necessarily the part of European Union, nor they want to be a part of Russia necessarily. And there was also another source that would say that Ukraine wants to divide into West and East, pro-Europe and pro-Russia sides of Ukraine. And it's proven not to be true as of today as well. Ukrainian people today want to be united. They want to be independent. They want a chance to build, to have justice and build a society that can, and a society and system that can equally benefit to the global environment.
Stand up for themselves.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely. And as far as playing out, everybody wants to know and predict what's going to be the ultimate result and what's going on. But it's hard to predict because there are still so many unknowns, and the situation is changing every single day.
So many variables.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And some of them, of course, Russian invasion. Are they going to continue manipulating and provoking Ukrainian people to go against each other? It also depends, is Europe going to interfere in any way? Mm-hmm. Is America going to respond in any way? So all these are unknowns that can shape the ultimate results of the situation. But I can tell you that Ukrainian people are ready to build an independent country. They want the unity of their territory. They do not want any war. They are peaceful, hardworking people who want a chance at freedom, who want a chance to have the leaders that they can be proud of. And at the same time, my personal prayer and I hope the prayer of my people is that Ukraine is going into history as an independent, sovereign, strong country, and hopefully Ukraine will become that empowering example for other nations that are currently suppressed by their leaders, so that to make a notion that people should stand up to those corruptive leaders and demand people in these leadership positions to represent their rights and
treat them fairly.
Treat them fairly so that people can be proud of their government and can identify with their government.
Excellent. Very good. Well, we'll be keeping y'all, your country in our prayers and your family in our prayers. And we really appreciate you being here. For Vision 48 News, I'm Jim Smith.